We've had the clearest indication this week the government is heading towards committing in some form to net zero emissions by the year 2050. The Treasurer giving a speech warning of the cost of not acting, something a lot of people have been talking about over the years outside of the Liberal Party. For more on this, I'm joined by Liberal MP Jason Falinski, who's been good enough to give us a part of his Saturday in lockdown. Jason, good to have your company as ever. On 2050, this commitment, realistically, is the easy part, isn't it? The short-term commitment's the big thing, and that's the thing that's more relevant for your government. What's your view on a 2035 target and what it should be?
Oh, mate, I have no idea what it should be. By the way, Tommy, nice to see you on a Saturday. It makes me feel like I'm still at work. So how's it go? How much time do we have? Do we have 35 minutes? Are we bringing it home for you, or...?
Look, let's just say things are not as constrained as normal, but I won't hesitate to cut you off.
Oh, that's right. The premiers don't work on Saturdays, is that right? They don't have their press conferences.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, we don't have their company. Sorry. One of your colleagues put a number on it, Dave Sharma. What do you feel about what he said on 2035?
So Dave reckons 45% by 2035 is pretty much what the modelling is saying that we'll get to. I guess my point on this is that we're going to be, even the modelling that we released last year showed that we were going to get to around about 35% by 2030. So we were going to exceed 28% by 400 million tonnes. I think it would be politically, leaving policy aside, pretty, less than optimal for us not to actually update that target, because otherwise our opponents can just simply go along and bank it and say, oh, well, they're still at 28%, but we'll say 35%, even though that's what we're headed towards anyway. So I think we should update the target at very least. Dave was saying that some of the models he's seen show 45% reduction by 2035. If that's right, then that's what we should head towards as well.
And that's what you're talking about there is essentially the country getting there anyway on other things that are happening within the whole economy. Right. So with all the warnings we're getting from the IPCC and also the warning from our Treasurer that it's going to cost us not to get there in terms of how we'll be viewed around the world, doesn't that strengthen the case for going beyond that? Yes, it might cost something, but doesn't it strengthen the case to go even beyond 45?
Yeah, I think so, Tom, because look, maybe I should think about that. But I think what you're saying is right, which is that, and what Josh was basically saying, is that there's this huge there's a poultice amount of money in what we call in Australia ESG. And so we have all these sorts of natural advantages in Australia. We're a pretty warm continent. We've got large land mass that's reasonably unpopulated. It's pretty clean. So our capacity to develop, for example, large solar installations, like you look at the Sun Sea cable, which is basically based at in the Northern Territory, and we'll run a cable through Indonesia to Singapore. So we're essentially exporting electricity to Singapore from a solar array in the Northern Territory. So there's a lot of money around. And what Josh is basically saying is if we have that framework, we'll be able to tap those capital markets that will see us develop a lot of renewable energy industries and exports. And I suspect Sun City is just one example of what will be a huge number. So, the answer to that question is obviously, if you're using all of that, then you'll get to a position where you probably exceed 45% by 2035 in any case. I guess we need to be a bit more cautious and just make sure that that's actually going to happen before we commit to it.